Dikduk Masoret HaMikra, Parashat Behukotai 4, Perek Kavav, Pasuk Kavav, the first couple of words, Beshivri Lachem Matelechem. Translation is when I break, or when breaking the staff of your food for you. The Ibn Ezra writes on that word, on those words, Beshivri Lachem, specifically the word Beshivri, Shem Aparal Uba Shevor, that the word Beshivri is a noun derived from a verb, and there's a Uba Shevor. He uses the term Shevor here. It's a term that he used in his day to mean a hirik. There's a hirik under the sheen. The poal here happens also to be the word Shevor, lishbor, to break. But there's a hirik under that sheen for Shevor, and he says it's very similar to what we find in Bereshit, the words Beshechva uvkuma, which are found in Bereshit Yutet Lamed Gimel. Bereshit Yutet Lamed Gimel. So there, Beshechva uvkuma, also there's a hirik under the shin Beshechva, and in both cases the commentaries on the Ibn Ezra explain the word should have been from Shechov. The word should have been Beshochva uvkuma and Beshovri Lachem instead of a hirik. But there's a hirik instead of the kamatz katan in both cases. That's the usage that it's in the Torah. Instead of the kamatz katan derived from holam, from shevor, so it would be shovri, and from shechov it would be shochva, beshochva instead of beshichva and beshivri. So there's a hirik here instead of the kamatz katan. Now there also is one other place where very similar words. Eshet Potiphar, she said there shechva imi, that she gives a command to Yosef, Bereshit Lamed Chet Yud Bet, shechva imi. Again, it should have been shochva imi because it's a sivu. It comes from the word shechov to shechov imi, but instead it says shechva imi instead of shochva imi. Again, with a hirik instead of a kamatz katan. The kamatz katan would have been from the word shechov. Again, where the holam without a vav, holam haser, when it's converted into this form, it should have been shochva instead of shechva. In all cases, there's a hirik under the shin, beshivri, beshechva, and shechva imi. Now, one other little thing you comment here about it. Since the hirik is not derived originally from the holam, which should have been kamatz katan under the shin, it's called. There's a different letter, a different vowel there. It's called in many grammarians of Middle Ages, they call it tenra kala. It's almost like a sheva. It's between a sheva and a tenra, but it's not a real tenra. It's called tenra kala. Because of that, you might have asked, shouldn't it have been Shechba imi and Beshechba uvkuma with the dagesh in the bet because of Beged Kefet? When you have a Sheva Nach and then followed by a letter from Beged Kefet, Bet Kaf Dalet Kaf Pe Beged Bet Gimal Dalet Kaf Pe Tav, normally it has a dagesh Kal in those letters after a Sheva Nach which follows a Tenra Ketana. So it should have said Beshechba and Shechba imi, but it doesn't. It's a vet without a dagesh. Why? Because it's considered tenura kala. In other words, it's not the hirik is not a real tenura. It's called a tenura kala, and because of that, you don't have the rule of beged kefet that usually applies after a shevanach and a tenura ketana. This is not a real tenura ketana. It's called a tenura kala. Therefore, there's no dagesh in the bet in both cases.